What does it truly mean to love your neighbor? Have you ever wondered why Moses disobeyed God and that prohibited him from entering the promised land? Was because right before he did it, he looked at the people and he said, "You rebels." And the way that he viewed them made him so angry that his anger superseded what the Lord had called him to do. And so in the same way, the way that we view people is so incredibly important because it's going to dictate how we treat them. And even in the same way, the way that I view people who I perceive are my enemies, whether it is a person of color, whether it is an immigrant, whether it is a person of a different religion, if you perceive them as an enemy or you perceive them as dangerous, you will treat them as such. And the love of God will not override the mission in your life. And this is why the Samaritan parable is so important, because Jesus was using in context to show them that the person that they perceive as their enemy, they're called to love. And that's why Jesus used that parable to show us what he is calling us to do with our enemies and how we have to view them in order to have the mission of God's love supersede what we want to do in our own lives. Do we realize that it even says if I have enough faith to move mountains, but if I don't have love, if I speak with so much of fervor and I have so many viewpoints and I can debate and do all these things, but if I don't have love enough to bear fruit and to love another person who is my next door neighbor, who I may perceive them as an enemy, then I'm not an effective Christian. And yet I wonder these things because as Christians, when we get more involved with statistics and politics and all of these things that we perceive, we create an image of a person and we miss their humanity, but instead we view them as a threat rather than the Lord has called me to love this person. The Lord has called me to be there for this person, to be all things for them, and maybe not even preach the gospel to them, but to give them a hug and to talk with them and to give them some food and some water. And yet if our mindset when we view somebody is not to show them the love of Christ, but to see them as a threat, then that will override what God has called us to do. And we will separate ourselves from them when God has given you a spirit to go and show them who he is.